Raising the Bar. It's the second Raising the Bar of the year, and here we are using Zoom. Interesting times. I'm appreciative of everyone having joined us. So I'm Chris Thielen, the 2020 GSAR president. Thanks again for everyone for joining us, and boy, do I wish everyone health and safety in these times that we are in. The protocol for this morning. By attending 4 Raising the Bars or 3 Raising the Bars and Community Day, you can receive 25% off on your GSAR dues. In turn, we need to be able to keep track of who is here. So I'm going to ask that everybody go to the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. If you, if you go to the bottom of your screen, hovering your mouse towards the bottom, you'll see the chat icon. If you click on that, the chat feature will show up, and what you need to do is sign in with your name. I'm going to ask that you do that now. Then when we're concluding, you need to sign out. So be sure to both sign in and out at the beginning and end of this meeting. A couple of things before we get into the main body of the program that I'd like to mention is that we've been holding caravans and broker opens Tuesday in the west, Wednesday in the east, and Thursday in the north. We've been able to get quite a bit of traffic through homes virtually. For instance, the very first caravan that we conducted, we had 24 agents on. So we demonstrated probably 5 or 6 properties that day. That was 5 or 6 homeowners that had a couple dozen realtors in their home virtually. So please keep a lookout for that because I think we can make this grow. We're looking for help as well. If anyone would like to help coordinate, we would very much appreciate it. If you're interested in being a coordinator or just presenting your properties or just viewing properties, please email Shauna Thielen. Also, we're doing virtual open houses. And so knowing that the state is saying that only one party can be in a house at any given time, yet we can now go into homes with people. Open houses on Sundays are back, but they're going to take you all day long. And if we were to see the New York State having us go back to self-quarantining, boy, could virtual business last for some time to come. So I'm encouraging everyone to do open houses virtually as much as possible, as is the state. And now you can put it into the MLS as a virtual open house on Sunday. By doing so, you'll be much more time efficient. I think you can get some great traffic that way. And by putting it into the MLS, it will propagate to Realtor.com, Zillow, and all of those other websites. So I encourage you to do that. Also, please remain on mute as we discussed throughout the course of this. Our lineup today will be Jeff Knauss will be joining us in just a moment here to present to us. Jeff is the CEO and co-founder of Digital Hive. Digital Hive is a full-service digital marketing agency with offices in both Syracuse and Rochester. In 2018, Digital Hive was named the 52nd fastest growing company in the US by Inc. magazine in their annual Inc. 5000 edition. And it was also named the 5th fastest growing marketing and advertising company in the nation. Also, Entrepreneur magazine listed them as one of the top 360 best entrepreneurial companies in America. Adweek has listed Digital Hive as the 59th fastest growing agencies in America in their inaugural Top 100 Fastest Growing Agencies in America edition. And in 2020, Digital Hive was named the 98th fastest growing company in the United States by the Financial Times, alongside companies like Netflix, PayPal, Uber, and Tesla. Jeff is a Syracusan, and he graduated from SUNY Oswego. He's an asset to our community. He's been doing some wonderful Zoom meetings himself that I've had the pleasure to sit in on, and now he is here with us. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jeff. Please join us and say hello.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for the great introduction. Nice to see everybody.
Nice. Thank you, Jeff. And I turn it over to you. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Well, wow, big group here. It's awesome to see. I think 116 participants. It's wonderful. I'm going to share my screen, so just bear with me for 2 seconds as I do that. And then I want to confirm that y'all can see what I'm seeing. This along slideshow. And everybody seeing that all right?
Yes.
Guess we good? Okay, awesome. Minimize this. All right, so thanks so much again for having me. When Lenore reached out to talk about this presentation, I was thinking to myself, wow, what a good time to talk about communications, huh? Not like anything has changed over the last few months. Everything's pretty status quo. You know, as Chris mentioned, I have been doing quite a few of these types of Zoom calls, digital webinars for people, just to talk through, as a brand, as a business, as a personal business, as a personal brand, it has become incredibly nuanced on how to speak to your clients because there's so much information out there. And we're going to get into that. But again, I'm really excited to chat with y'all today and go through some ideas. This is a little different even for me. I've been doing a lot of these types of webinars, as I mentioned, and I wanted to do something a little different because I wanted to use this time to provide as much value for you as possible. I understand the whole idea around this is raising the bar, trying to improve your skills as a person, as a realtor, as a service person to the community. And so I wanted to use this time really strategically. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through the principles of marketing. I'm going to talk through how to kind of think about how to market and communicate to your potential clients and your current clients, but also I want to talk through, you know, an actual real exercise. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to set the stage for y'all. In addition to all the wonderful things Chris mentioned, I also happen to be very involved in our community here in Central New York. I'm on the board of directors at Loretto Foundation, United Way of Central New York, Food Bank of Central New York, SUNY Oswego, OCC, Center State CEO, and Burn Dairy. I also happen to have an investment company on the side called HML Holding Company that I've invested in Exo Taco, co-founder there, as well as a handful of other tech businesses and some various startups. So I really do love upstate New York. I love Central New York. My wife and I live in Skaneateles, recently moved here, and you know, we plan on being lifelongers in Central New York. So I'm really excited to be able to talk to GSAR, especially because you folks are really impactful. What you do is so helpful. I mean, as I mentioned, I just moved, and I was fortunate enough to work with Rami, who was wonderful. Many of you probably know Rami Callahan. And she really helped us through the process. She found the home that we're currently in. We thought we were going to build, and we ended up finding our dream home that we've wanted to be in for quite some time. So the service that you all provide to the community is truly such an asset, and I want to help you guys get better in communicating that piece of it, right? Because I'm sure that as we talk on this call, there's a plethora of different, you know, marketing expertise, people that really know marketing inside and out, and people that maybe just getting, you know, their feet wet with it. So we're going to talk through the whole spectrum. Chris mentioned a lot of this stuff, so I'm not going to belabor the point. We've been very fortunate in the growth that we've had. Digital Hive has grown over 12,000% in the last 5.5 years. And so I'm going to talk through ways that we've been able to help our partners, our clients, because that's really, at the end of the day, what I think you guys can walk away with from a value standpoint is how have we utilized the principles of marketing to be able to communicate to their clients to help their businesses grow. Because the cool thing about my business is that my business doesn't grow unless our clients' businesses grow, right? And so I'm going to talk through kind of how we talk about marketing to our folks. So let's get right into it. COVID-19 has thrown a bomb right inside of everything that we all do. All of our businesses have been affected in a pretty major way, as our personal lives have. And I don't know that there's another career path that blends personal life and professional life more than being a realtor, right? You're in people's homes, you're in people's lives, you're getting to know their kids. I was thinking a lot about this conversation before today. And I was just thinking about how much COVID, you know, just the idea of you guys going, unfortunately, back and forth. You were essential and then not non-essential, and you were able to do in person, and then you weren't able to do in person. And so I know that must have been truly frustrating for all of you. And even as we head into, now that we're in phase 2, Chris just mentioned you guys can do in-person meetings again, and open houses are back to being a thing. You know, being able to communicate just that piece of it, right? Because there are still people that need to sell their homes. There are still people that need to buy a new home, that need to move, that got a new job, that are downsizing. All sorts of reasons why people are still moving and need to buy homes. And so you guys, as the experts, need to be the ones leading the charge in providing really good information about what is true and what is false. Because I honestly, before this meeting, I had to look up where realtors were at in phase 2 and what the specifications are of what you could do. Could you do in person? Could you not do in person? Was it all virtual? And I've seen a whole smattering of different agents that I'm friends with on Facebook, and they're doing walkthroughs on Facebook Live and all sorts of things. And I don't, as a consumer, I don't really know your industry. I'm worried about myself. So we'll talk about understanding our consumers in a little bit and our clients, but I just wanted to say that right now, it's so challenging because I started my career in 2017, just before the 2018 recession hit. 2008 recession hit. And so when 2008 recession kind of happened, it was an economic crisis that the world hadn't seen since the Great Depression. And so it was a really, really strange time. But on top of the economic struggles that we're all having, we also have a health crisis that's layering on top. So for you as brand ambassadors for your brokerage firm or just for yourself, as you building your personal brand, being able to communicate to your clients is so tough. I think we all need to admit that to ourselves. Do I go out and really tout my services and really talk about the way that I can add value? Or do I hold back because I don't want to upset anybody, because people are losing their loved ones, people are getting sick, people are afraid? Fear is driving so much of our communication these days. And that makes it really, really challenging for us to balance between offering value and not being seen as opportunistic. And so hopefully I can clear up some of those points as we talk through this. I saw that, obviously your industry was impacted. I saw that pending sales and new listings were down 65% in April. And that's got to be challenging. But I think the good news is, and that's why I think this timing is so perfect, because the good news is that pent-up demand. I know that, the market was really tough as it is, but that pent-up demand should hopefully lead the way for you guys once we get out of COVID and once things start to get back to normal. Hopefully there's not a second wave and all that. Got to try and be optimistic because we can't control any of it, right? The hope for me would be that once we get out of this, you guys are going to see such pent-up demand, you're not going to be able to know what to do with the business, right? But in order to do that, you need to be able to communicate well with your clients and let them know that you are open for business and you are the get back to normalcy experts, right? You guys want to brand yourselves as the people that look at things are challenging, times are tough, lots of information out there, lots of misinformation out there. We're the people you can rely on that knows the real estate industry the best. We know Central New York. We know how to help you find your dream home, because ultimately we got to get in mind of the consumer. So I'm going to talk now a little bit about how do we think about marketing and how should you think about marketing? As real estate agents, I think that one thing you got to think about is that not only are you representing potentially a broker, but you're also representing yourself. You're creating a personal brand. And so there's a couple different ways to think about it. But when you think about marketing, first of all, think about it like communication. You're trying to communicate to your clients and your potential clients a certain message. And in order for them to take some form of action, more than likely, you want to be hired more, right? You want to either represent someone in the buying side or you want to represent somebody in the selling side. So if that is your goal, that's the way that we always try to frame up marketing. Because I think too often people start marketing like, all right, let's come up with a cool message. Let's come up with let's talk to our, no. The first thing you need to do is think about your goal and then reverse engineer that into how do I then talk to my customers? How do I then think through my messaging? You have to understand what your goal is. So if my goal is to increase my clientele base by 20% in the month of June, all right, That's my goal. All right, great. Now I can work backwards into what are my customers thinking? What is my messaging? What are the strategies and tactics that are going to help me reach my goal? So that's the way to start to think about marketing, is start with your goal in first, and then reverse engineer it backwards to think about all the other things that will lead to your goal. Because if you don't know what your goal is, so often people think about marketing like this, what they see like Super Bowl commercials and all these things, like really big ideas of what marketing is. But realistically, what you're trying to do is say, if the easiest way to imagine, because sometimes people are like, I don't really know what my goal is. The easiest way to think about it is to say, all right, imagine yourself in 6 months. In 6 months from today, if you were to say, oh my gosh, I ran this marketing campaign and all of my dreams have come true. I'm so thrilled with this. This was the best marketing, dollars that I could have spent. And by the way, marketing isn't just money. It's also an investment of time, right? So that's why you have to take this seriously, because you're going to be investing a lot, even if it's just your personal brand, even if you're just trying to get your name out there. You need to think about, what is your goal? And then you need to say, all right, in 6 months, if I were so happy with the marketing efforts that I put out, my investment of time and my investment of money, this was so great. What are you saying was so great? What actually was the outcome that you're so thrilled with? And that's how you can really start to define your goals. And then once you've done that, the first thing you need to do is deep dive into your brand, whether that's your personal brand, your professional brand. What is it that makes you unique? What are those things that you can say definitively that, oh my gosh, I am so great. My clients love me because of this. This is the value proposition that I bring to the table that's so, unique or special, or even better. Doesn't need to be, something completely different than somebody else does, but what do I do better than anybody else? Because if you don't understand your brand, no one else will. I think so many people get that wrong so often. If you don't understand your brand, then no one else can, right? Because you are your own best brand advocate. You are the person that needs to understand thoroughly and deeply the reasons that you are the best person to hire as an agent, to represent a buying or selling side. You're the person that's going to be the best to be able to say, I'm Jeff Knauss, and this is the value that I bring. Once you understand that, all of a sudden the messaging becomes so much more impactful, because then you can really go into your brand differentiators. You can go, and then also not just the things you do well, but what are the things you don't want to do? Whether you're not good at certain things, it's not your forte, or it's just you don't like it. If there's certain aspect, like let's say that you were like, you know what, for whatever reason, I don't do well in Solvay. I've had a number of listings in Solvay. I don't do well there, whether it's my network or this or that. I don't want to be the Solvay person, but you know what I do really well? I crush it in Camillus, right? And I know geographies are probably like 101 for most of you, because you that's just naturally your tendency, your natural networks and things like that. But you may think that that's common knowledge, but then why don't you beat your chest about, like, I'm the Camillus person? Why don't you put that in every single piece of your branding? Because you want to fish where the fish are. You want to say, like, I absolutely do my best work if I'm in this specific area. This is what I need to, this is where every piece of marketing should say Camillus, right? And that's obviously, like, that's an example, because some people probably don't want to box them in or box themselves in or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you want to figure out what you're really good at, what you enjoy doing, and also figure out the things that you're not so great at, so that you can double down or triple down on the things that you really want to be doing and the things that you're really good at. And I'm going to be able to give practical examples to all this when we actually go through a real life exercise, a marketing and branding exercise. So stay tuned for that in a moment. The next piece of it is understanding your clients, right? So you need to understand, everything about them, from what geography do they live in, right? To start with, what is the age bracket that you tend to do really well with? Do you do really well with first-time home buyers? Do you do really well with, empty nesters? Do you really do really well with whatever it is that you tend to do really well, going back to understanding your brand. Now it's time to understand who are your best clients, right? So understanding the demographics, age, geography, whatever the things are, whatever the chemical makeups of your clients, to define your best. Think about your best clients. Think about the people that you absolutely loved working with, and you would love to get 100 more of those people. understand who those folks are. Because again, it's all about tripling down. Marketing is all about trying to maximize your opportunities. So you don't want to go out and market to people that you don't want to work with, right? You want to market to those people that you're like, these are my best clients. These are who I do my best work with. Let's focus in on these folks. Not only do you want to understand the demographics and the geography and all that, you also want to understand their mind frame. And I think that's an important distinction, especially today. During COVID, people are thinking so differently than they've ever thought before. People that have a necessity to sell their home, like, I can't wait, I have to sell my home, or I can't wait, I need a home. I'm living out of, a 1-bedroom apartment and I got 3 kids. I got to get out of here, right? That's a mentality. So then you know how to market to your clients, whether that's incorporating inside of your messaging, like, a call to action that's like, if you're in a hurry, I'm the hurry up expert, right? Whatever those ideas are, that way you can really capture what the needs are of your clients and be able to focus your messaging on those needs, because it's all about them. You don't matter in the equation. What actually matters is their needs, what their mindset is, and then you can tailor your strengths that you just defined into helping your clients through your messaging. So understanding your clients and their mind frame and where they are is really super important. Now, reaching your clients. What's the best way to reach your clients? So I'm going to talk, I came from 8 years of broadcast television experience. I believe in TV, radio, billboards, somebody holding a little sign on the corner of the street. I think all of those things can work, but it's all about return on investment. Everything is about, if you're going to spend money or you're going to spend time on your marketing, then you have to think about what is going to be my largest return on investment. And so I really, truly believe in all forms of advertising. Again, 8 years in broadcast television, I still have my clients spend money on TV, radio, and all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, what we do is at Digital Hive is we do digital marketing. And I like bringing this stat up because I think it's really interesting about the way that consumers are shifting. Again, thinking about our target customer and their mindset, where they spend their time. Google and Facebook now may have more ad revenue than every newspaper, magazine, and radio network in the world combined. So I'm not just saying like all social media, all search engines. I'm not saying Bing. I'm not saying all the social medias. I'm saying that just 2 companies that were invented 20 years ago now have more advertising revenue than whole platforms worldwide combined. And the reason for that is the data. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But this is what digital marketing is. And the reason that I think digital is so important as a component of your marketing idea is digital is all about 2 things. One, it's very targeted. So you're only talking to the specific people that you want to be talking to, your perfect customers. When you put a billboard on the highway or a TV ad out there, it's whoever happens to be seeing that ad is the person that's going to be receiving your message. Whereas on digital marketing, if somebody types in a keyword, looking for a home in Syracuse, looking for a home in Solvay, looking to sell my home in Camillus, right? Like if they're looking for those specific things, you're only talking to people actually searching for that keyword. If you're on social media, you can target people that are looking to, potentially looking to move. People that have indicated they've been on different, real estate websites. They've been looking at, packaging supplies. They've been looking at movers. You can target those people utilizing the data and say, I only want to talk to people who potentially could be moving within the next 6 months. So all of a sudden and by the way, you can target it in on geography. You can target it in on age. You can target it in on income. You can target a whole bunch of things that then now that you understand your customer, you can meet them where they actually are. The other piece that's really important is that it's data driven. And so no longer do you have to worry about, oh yeah, I think that my customers are here and are reacting to my ads. Now you can say, I know that I can run 2 different ads. I can run ad A and run ad B. If ad A has a picture of a female and an ad B has a picture of a happy family with a moving truck and excited to move, and we see that the ad A is performing better than the family, okay, let's get rid of the family. Now let's introduce the same image of the same woman, but we're going to change up the call to action on the ad. Okay, now that's working 17% better, the new call to action. So let's get rid of the old call to action. Now I'm going to keep everything the same except the copy. All right, now copy C is working better than copy B. So by the time you're at X, your ads are so significantly better because you're using data and what your consumers are actually telling you to make marketing decisions so much stronger. Your return on investment will be so much higher than ad A or ad B ever could be, because in the beginning, you're using your assumptions. You're saying, I think this is my target customer, but then you'll actually see what your customers are actually reacting to. And the insight of the data will then say, all right, I need to focus more in on this message versus this message. I could say, you know, I have 27 years of experience in Central New York. That could be like the experience ad. And then the other message is, you know, here's a white paper on how COVID changed the real estate market in Central New York. Those could be two different ads. And you could find that the experience ad all of a sudden doesn't matter because the ad B is getting 27% more engagement than ad A was. And so now you could say this white people really care about COVID. They could really care about this white paper. They're downloading it like crazy. Let's focus in on this and just tweak the messaging now, right? So you're really being able to react to exactly what your clients want, which is awesome. The last piece of it is, how do I get my clients to take action? How do I get my clients to take action? So that's all about inside of the messaging points, right? How do I get someone to say, all right, now I've seen all the things you have to tell me. What's the way that I can actually do something? What do you want me to actually do? And that's massively important because you have to have a call to action in your ads. If you want to get a return on your investment, you need to have something to say, hey, this is what I want you to do. Click on this button and you'll get to my landing page, with my bio and my picture and all this stuff, and then request an appointment. That's your call to action. So that you can actually test this messaging to know that this definitively is what I need you to do. Now that I've convinced you that I'm the right, you know, realtor for you, and I'm the right person that you want helping you, you know, or at least I'm in your wheel of consideration, because that's really what marketing is. It's not so much like, sometimes you're going to get somebody that's like sees an ad on Facebook or sees a, you know, post on Facebook, Instagram or whatever. And they say, oh, that's interesting. Very rarely are you going to be like, I'm going to work with that person because you have to still sell them, right? What this does is it gets them into the consideration wheel. It gets you into the idea that, okay, this is a person that I'm at least going to consider during my decision-making phase. And that's super important. And then the back end of that is using the data to inform. I'm going to kind of hustle through the last piece of this so I can spend some real time on the exercise. But using the data through Google Analytics, through insights through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and every single platform has some form of analytics, some form of data. And so you should be testing within those platforms different messaging points, as I just mentioned, and then using the data. Okay, this post got X% better engagement than this post. So, and I'm seeing a trend in that. Every time that I post about helpful information of how to make your, you know, home, you know, sellable. Every time I post something like that with real tactics or top 10 ways to make your house have more curb appeal, whatever the thing is, right? Every time I post about that, I get more engagement. I'm going to do more content like that because that's what my audience wants to see. So using data to inform your marketing decisions is very, very important. No more are the days of like, I'm going to put an ad up on a billboard and then pray that in 30, 60, 90 days that something happens. Because there's no feedback loop, right? But the cool thing with digital, and by the way, I think billboards are great. I'm just saying use the data. So if you have a billboard up, and you're running social media ads or something like that, and your your social media ads are reflecting the billboard, and then you try a different type of ad and you see that ad is doing better, then use the images, copy points, call to action in the next billboard that you do. You've never been able to do that before. Now you can literally have actionable data to say, all right, I'm taking digital real-time analysis and I'm actually using it for my traditional media spend. Because before that, it literally was like, I think people are telling me they see, you know, my TV ad. I don't know if it's really working. I got a couple more calls than last month, but I don't know why that is. And now all of a sudden you can use your data to inform your messaging points. So awesome. We are at the fun part. So Rob, is Rob there?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
What's up, Rob?
How you doing, Jim?
Thanks for doing this. So Rob, I heard, is the shooting star of 2020 for GSAR. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you.
And so for that reason, he was chosen to be our guinea pig in this really fun exercise to actually go through a lot of what I was just talking about. So Rob, I understand you're with Acropolis, right?
That's right, yes.
Awesome. Yeah. As I mentioned, those dudes are good buddies of mine. So this will be fun.
Yeah, that's a good.
Sorry. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to run through an exercise, and then we're literally going to try to come up with some different ways to help you market. I'm just going to, off the top of my head, I'm going to start to think through, how to really define some, your marketing strategies, maybe some messaging points, maybe a cool creative idea. I'm trying to not sell this too high because I have no idea what's going to come out of it, but I think this could be helpful for you and everybody else on the call. So Rob, tell me a little bit about your goals. Like, what do you want to accomplish with any marketing? And remember, it can be paid marketing, it could be organic social media, whatever the case may be. First of all, are you doing any type of marketing? And if you are, what would be your ultimate goal?
So my goal is to do more business. So I'm looking for more clients. The higher the dollar value of the homes they're looking to buy and sell, the better, frankly. That means the less deals I have to do to hit my goal. I'm looking to do $8 to $10 million this year. In terms of advertising now, I got spend on paid lead services like Zillow, Realtor.com. I experimented last year with some services like Market Leader that would run like Facebook or Google ads on my behalf, and then drive that traffic to kind of a generic website that I created, and then try to send me that lead data. That was a waste of a few $1,000. I literally did not get a single good lead out of that. I tried doing Google ads on my own. Did a little bit of A/B testing, but didn't dive into any specialized targeting at all. Again, got a zero return on investment there. It was kind of a waste of about $1,000. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Yeah.
I have this saying that I say at a lot of my meetings: nobody spends money on advertising for fun. And that's a perfect example, exactly what you said. I wasted a few $1,000s here. I wasted a few $1,000s here. Like, that sucks, right, man? I mean, that's not fun. I certainly empathize with you that, ultimately what we're all trying to do in marketing, if we're going to spend any money, is to have a return on our investment, right? We want that to end up in leads or sales or whatever the thing is. And so I think you have an acute awareness of this based on your previous history and what you just shared. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Rob, let's talk a little bit about your brand. Tell me, what is it about yourself that you feel is the differentiator? Like, why do people work with you? Why do you feel like, why are you the shooting star of 2020? Like, what have you done to really differentiate yourself? Why do people, work with you? Why do they give you referrals? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't think I've been able to create, I don't know, externally facing brand. Like, I don't know. But when people meet me, I think I do a good job of, displaying that I'm competent enough to, they can trust me, that I know what I'm talking about inside the deal. And that trust and displays of competence, I think, are important. And then also, I think, I'm kind of a goofy guy. I'm a fun-loving, happy-go-lucky kind of person. So I think a lot of the clients that I work with, that I win over quickly, see me as somebody that's going to be able to do a good job, but also it's going to be a fun process. And I'm going to get them the information that they need. And we're going to, this is a pivotal life experience. I'd say 75% of the clients that I work with are, just regular people looking to buy and sell their house. This is a big move for them. They have their vision of how they're going to upgrade their life. And so we kind of ride that energy. When I do reach out to people that are fresh leads that don't know me, I have basically an intro video that I share, and basically a stock email that kind of tells them about me and my background. I was in corporate America for a while. I went through like GE's finance leadership program. I was an internal consultant with GE Capital for a while doing research and analytics. So I kind of have like a different kind of background than I'd say the average agent. And I do try to play that up. I try to use that as, display of competence to kind of build trust early. And then I got long hair and a beard, so I kind of make fun of myself a little bit.
Nice. I like it. So kind of some of the themes I heard was a sense of humor, credibility, trust, differentiation in your background, and having that kind of like sense of humor that makes people feel the humanity side of things. This is great. I think I'm so happy that we're doing this, because I think I have some cool stuff. So, all right, good. Now let's talk about your clients. What's the perfect kind of client for you? Tell me a little bit about their geography. Tell me a little bit about who they are. Think about your best clients that you've ever had. What do they look like? What do they sound like? How would you describe them?
Well, for me, I really love somebody that's upgrading from their first home to their second home, because that means I can, based off of one relationship, I get 2 transactions, and that gives me more time with them. We form a deeper bond, and those tend to result in more referrals. Also, the connection tends to be deeper because often these people are in similar stages of life to me. I'm 30 years old. So a lot of people that are looking to make that transition from their first or second home are usually in the 25 to, 40, 35-year-old age group, and that they tend to like my personality a lot.
Mm-hmm. And geography doesn't matter to you so much?
Not really. I'm really working throughout Onondaga County. Right now, I have no real commitments tying me down, and I'm a workaholic, so I have a lot more capacity and bandwidth than I do deals. So I'll go anywhere, pretty much in Central New York.
Love it. All right, we don't need to talk very much about that. We'll get to that. Tell me a little bit about this video that you send, just a little bit more about like what it does, the introduction video. You kind of make fun of yourself, you give your background. Like, are there any key points to that you think really resonates with people?
Yeah, it's right. It's not super high quality. I just shot it with my iPhone. I had like a ring light that I made, and I kind of I went to my office at night, and I'm kind of in the middle of our brand new office. And so the reason why I did this is I was connecting with people on realtor.com, and realtor.com will send your info to multiple agents. And then I was just getting so many people that I just never heard from. They wouldn't reply to me. Same thing on Zillow. Like, you might have a quick call with somebody, but their house that they're calling about is under contract. And, I was conversion on those platforms is like 3 to 4%. That means you're talking to 25, to 33 people before you're really even getting a transaction. And so if we can move the needle on that, it makes a huge difference in terms of ROI. So that's the purpose of the email. That's kind of how the look and the setup. I really just introduce myself, tell them my name and title, have like a funny intro, and then kind of just go into, what I did last year, what my educational and career background is, and then the call to action at the end is to basically connect either by call or email.
Cool. And out of those $8 to $10 million that you hope to do in transactions for the year, if you don't mind sharing this, like how many transactions do you think you need to have total to do that?
Probably so I did 7 million last year based off of 53 transactions, and that was a low average sale price. So, probably 60 transactions probably will get me there.
So you're saying maybe 2 a month, right? Ish.
6D. So
I'm sorry. No. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So you're doing like 5 a month then.
Yeah. And I'm seeing probably for one reason or the other, 15% of transactions that go under contract don't end up paying me.
Okay.
Probably, 6 a month is the target.
All right, cool. All right, so 6 a month. Okay. So what I love so much, the reason I asked,
so I don't want to cut you off, just so the numbers are right. And then I don't do any business in the winter. So I really have to do 7 or 8 a month during the prime because I have to account for seasonality. Yeah.
Great point. Okay. So what I love about this, Rob, and I'm glad that we got to that point, was we kind of started with what is your goal? And hopefully this is like applicable to everybody, right? But now that we've kind of dug in a little bit deeper, I love that you have actionable, like very like strategic goals around your transactions you want to hit, the revenue that you want to hit from a transaction standpoint. Like that's so great because now you can work backwards, right? Not even just like, what is my marketing going to do, but like how overall for Rob, what does his year look like? And now you can actually start to plan out, to say, all right, if I got to do 7 or 8 transactions a month, how am I going to make that work? Not only from a time, having goals is so incredible because it not only is able to like come up with strategy, tactics, but then also be able to measure out your time, right? So I want to walk through a few things that I heard that are really interesting that hopefully can put you down a path. So Rob, it sounds like to me, again, I'm just gonna go through some of the themes here that I heard, which is like, that trustworthy, like a really cool business background, right? I love that kind of differentiation factor. I heard the credibility piece, but they have to meet you, right? That's like the one big barrier, is that all of this stuff that you're talking about, being kind of fun, kind of younger, being able to empathize and relate to the people that, in that 25 to 40-year-old bracket of people, you got to meet them in order to convince them. And so I think that it's smart that you're sending out these videos to these leads. What are you doing on organic social media? Do you have your own page? Are you posting things on organic? And how does that typically go for you?
Yeah, I do have a real estate specific Facebook page, a real estate specific Instagram page. I could probably utilize that better. Mm-hmm. I generally, any listings that I have, I'll push through that. I follow what's going on in terms of like economic development pretty closely in the city, particularly with a downtown focus. So I'm often pushing, real estate news that I think it's interesting to people that are kind of all in Syracuse. The kind of, people that live here, I want to kind of speak to the people that are about Syracuse that want it to be better. They're staying here for a reason. They're growing their families here for a reason. So that kind of news is, real estate related, but also resonates. Occasionally, if I come across good articles about, preparing your house for sale or that sort of content that might be relevant to buyers and sellers, I'll push that content. That's about it.
Love it. All right. So here's my recommendation off of our 10-minute chat. Normally, obviously, this would be a much longer process. Yeah. But what I really think, Rob, is that, you got an interesting, so first of all, you have an interesting look, right? I just flipped over to your video. So you got the long hair, the beard. It's very cool. So I would say that that's something you want to lead with. The look, the personality, the credibility. Basically what you're doing, Rob, is you are storytelling. The reason that Google ads probably didn't work as well for you is how can you tell a story around Google, right? Because Google ads are just text. They're text-based. So maybe you can weave in some of that credibility. Maybe you can talk about your professional experience. But I think the best form of advertising for you at this point in your career is really to hone in on the social media aspect and storytell. The reason that you're having, the reason that people need to meet you first in order to gain that credibility is because they don't walk in with your personal brand in their mind, right? So you just said you have Facebook, Instagram, but you could do more with it. I would highly suggest that content marketing become part of your job. I would say that content marketing for you, whether that's stand-up, I mean, you said it wasn't your video that you send out, it's not high quality or anything like that. And that's good because authenticity is so incredibly important in social media age. And so being able to stand up your iPhone or whatever phone you have or camera and being able to do quick weekly tips, right? Being able to brand yourself as the content authority, I think is going to be massively important for you because not only are you going to be able to come off with, the empathy around, hey, this is a big decision in your life that you mentioned. You're able to talk about, all the ways, again, you're in your customer's mind, you're thinking in their lens of what they're kind of going through. You're going to be able to empathize with them, but then you're going to be able to layer in your credibility piece. You can talk about your business background and say, hey, I'm Rob and I had this financial background. So I understand the financial implications of a real estate transaction. I understand the financial implications of making one of the biggest purchases in your life, right? I can help you through that financial piece because that's a big pain point for people is like, this is going to cost me a lot of money or it's going to cost me a lot of money if I sell my home at a less price than I want to get for it, right? And so each way you're able to make some traction there. What I also love that you said is that you love upgrading people from their first home to their second home because that allows you to be what I would think in my mind popped in is the retention expert. You're the person that can be introduced in somebody's early life to say, hey, look, throughout the course of your life, you're going to buy 5 homes on average, according to the data. I don't know what the data says, but it's 5 homes, 4 homes, whatever the case may be. My intention in life is I don't care about the first transaction that we work. I don't care about the first. What I really care about is year 5 and 10 and 20 and 25 and 30. I'm a Central New York through and through person, right? I love Central New York, and they'll believe you because you've done all this content marketing about the city of Syracuse and real estate and all the, the news. You've now branded yourself as a content expert. So you have some authority, you have credibility. You've really built this personal brand to say, I'm the Syracuse person that really loves, helping young people find their first or second home, because I want to be there with you when you catapult into your career and I'm on your 4th home and 5th home. I want me to be the first call. And by the way, I want to do such a good job for you that I want you to tell every single person you know how easy I made this process, because I want to be there for that many people. My goal in life as Rob is to impact people's lives in the largest way possible. And I can't think of a more noble cause than being able to help someone into their dream home, into their next place that they're going to be spending the majority of their life, raising a family, maybe spending time with their friends, marrying their, significant others, whatever the case may be. Significant life significant life events happen within the home. I want to be the person that you think of that helped you get there, right? Throughout their whole process. I think I kind of remember, is there a regulation around testimonials in your industry? Can you use testimonials?
I think we can use testimonials. If not, then, I'm in trouble.
Okay. Well, I would say, so from everything I'm hearing, like, you love helping people, you have good retention, the people trust you as soon as they meet you. I would be using that all day long, but in a really unique way, right? Not just like Rob is the best and it's like a text-based thing. I would be going back to the people that you've helped with their homes, checking in with them first, right? First and foremost, offering value. Because I think that's a big problem in the real estate industry, is once you've sold the home, that relationship is kind of gone because you're focusing on the 7 or 8 transactions. You don't have a whole lot of time. I think booking within your time, going back 6 months, a year, going back to all these people and being like, hey, just want to check in every, few months, every 6 months, saying, hey, it's Rob. I loved working with you. How's everything going? Building that rapport. If you haven't done that already, if you have done that, you already got a step ahead. Then going in and saying, look, I'm building this kind of like, I know that this was a problem that you had, right? This was a pain point that you had. You were worried about financing. You were worried about this. You were worried about that. I'm building a library of content for all the future people that I'm going to help. I want to make a huge impact in people's lives throughout Central New York. And I would love if you were able to help me. Would you be able to I'll help you kind of like write the thing. It'll only be a 1-minute video, but could you talk a little bit about this one pain point that you have? Because I think it was really interesting. You were having trouble thinking through like bank financing, and I was able to help point you in the right direction, but this was the conclusion. Would you mind if, like, once things calm down, I could run out and get a 1-minute video of you, or, you could even throw it on your phone, right? And then use it that way. Rob, you're going to say something.
Oh, I just think that's a great idea. Yeah. Maybe holding some like interviews or conversational, like almost like deal debriefs. I could
That's
see.
it, bro. That's 100%, 100,000%, right? Being able to engage with your previous customers that are so in love with you, that are like, I would never use anybody that Rob. Use that, build a library of content, and then all of a sudden your social media posting's got a whole lot easier, because it's not Rob saying I'm the best, right? It should very rarely be Rob saying that I'm the best. It should be other people telling your story, and then bringing it back and guiding them on the content that you want to be put out there. So, hey, was it interesting to you that I had a different background than most other agents? Did that help, that financial mind? Did that help you in any way? Yeah, it really did, Rob. I love that you were able to do X, Y, and Z. Awesome. Would you mind just throwing that on a quick video and sending it to me? Great. Now all of a sudden you have that piece of content to be able to show every 6 months, and then you can weave it into your video that you do, your intro video. Because all of a sudden your intro video can go from, hey, I'm Rob, I'm a goofy guy, I have a fun personality, I have this cool background, right? To, hey, this is what other people say about me, right? And so ultimately I think that building credibility will start with having other people build your credibility. And then what does that do? It doesn't only just help the future customer make you feel like, oh gosh, Rob seems to be the best because everybody's loving on Rob, right? It doesn't just do that. It also reinforces your staying power with your previous clients as well. Because it's if you look at a few research pieces that have been done, anybody that gives a testimonial, because if I'm going to give you a testimonial, I obviously believe in it, right? So now all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm telling everybody else that this guy is so great. I have to believe he's great. So then they're definitely going to give you a call. You're going to stay top of mind for the next time they want to make a transaction, or even better, the next time a friend or a family member wants to make a transaction, right? So these are just ways to help with both retention, help with future customers, and help with your personal branding. If you can soften up, like if you can start to get your name out there as Rob, I'm the freaking best because I focus on this, this, this. Here's my differentiators. Here's what I do so well. If you can tell that story really well before anybody ever contacts you, then they happen to contact you through Zillow or whatever the case may be, or just simply by going to your website or your social media pages or whatever it is. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I've heard of you. You're the retention expert guy, right? I've seen your videos. How much easier does that make that sale? I mean, you said yourself the conversion rate is so low based on all these leads you get. If you could inch up that conversion rate to 50%, you'd have to talk to a lot more people or a lot less people. Your conversion rate goes up. Maybe you could get even better deals because you can leverage those talking points into, better deals and really niche yourself out in the higher end market. Whole different ways to be able to leverage this content. So that's really what I'm thinking. Again, sorry, I'm getting excited, but I just think, off of a 10-minute conversation, I see so many different opportunities for you to go all in on content for yourself. If you feel comfortable in front of the camera, or you can get other people to feel confident in front of the camera, boy, you got a big opportunity.
Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Yeah, more content to come, 2020. All right.
It is, man. I love it. Keep that energy up and execute. Now is the thing. I talk to so many people, they get excited about strategies and tactics, and then life gets in the way. But I promise you that if you book out time, just like you book time to go to the gym, just like you book time to go to, your friends and call your mom, whatever the case may be, time is a choice. So if you take your time and you say, look, I'm really super busy, but I'm going to take time because I know this is going to help my future career and my future opportunities, it will work. It's going to take time. Branding takes time. It's not a one-to-one conversion. But if you can do this over time consistently, you're going to build a name for yourself.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rob. Whew, that was a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. It's 10:25. I'm so sorry, Christine and Lenore. I didn't leave nearly the amount of time for questions that I wanted to. But I'm done now. So whatever you want to do with me in these last few minutes, let's do it. This is how to contact me if I didn't answer your questions.
Well, Jeff, that was, as always, an amazing amount of content. I've got several pages of notes. I'm sure others do as well. I'm looking to see if there's any questions. If anyone has a quick question and you would like to put it in the chat, Jeff's going to be kind enough to address it. And I'm looking to see if there are any. We'll give it a moment. So if you have a question for Jeff and you were to go to the chat, you could place that question in the chat.
Maybe it was good. I went right to the last minute. Normally I get like 200 questions and it's like, oh gosh, I didn't leave enough time. But this is kind of great. That's
what I'm getting is a ton of thank yous. So, Jeff, that was, like I said, it was wonderful. I want to also thank the Tompkins Trust Company for being today's sponsor for this event. I also want to thank Rob. Rob, that was great of you to put yourself out there, and you've got some homework in front of you that I know you're going to tackle, knowing you. And Jeff, I can't thank you enough. That was really terrific. We appreciate your having been here.
Well, thanks so much, Chris, for the great introduction. Lenore, Christine, you guys were awesome in setting this up, and Katie. Rob, thank you so much for sharing. I know that, we're all friendly competitors on this call, so giving up some information and going through that exercise was a lot of fun with you. And Kelly just asked, should I grow a beard? I'm definitely going to say yes. It works for Rob. So, Kelly, I definitely think you need to do that for sure. Maybe I will. If you don't want to see me in a beard. It's 4 long hairs that grow out of the side of my face. It's a bad look.
Well, Jeff, thanks again. We appreciate your having been here. The next thought for you guys is twofold. We were just given a gift by the state of New York, and that gift is phase 2. We are now able to be in the company of folks our buyers, our sellers, as long as we stay to the principles of the contract, as long as we are with just the clients one at a time. But more so than in phase one, we have what New York State has given us is not just recommendations from Empire State Development, it's also by the Department of Health. So this is the first time throughout COVID that the Department of Health and a health agency from the state has articulated what we should be doing. And I just felt it, while we have everybody here, it's very important to stress the one, and all of the recommendations that the Department of Health gave us, there was one instance and one instance only where they used the word mandatory and required, and that's relative to face masks. So if I may, I want to read to you a sentence. In addition to adhering to social distancing and following required PPE safety guidelines, New York State Department of Health requires that a face mask be worn at all times by agents, building inspectors, appraisers, clients, and others while visiting properties. So let's all move forward doing that. Let's all make sure that we encourage others to do that. And in fact, if you see folks that are not doing it, have a conversation with them. It's the only way to be a socially responsible citizen and realtor and move us forward and not have us take a step back as an industry. What we're going to do now is take a quick break, and then we're going to begin our annual meeting in about 5 minutes time. So everyone go grab some coffee, stretch your legs, but we will reconvene in 5 minutes to handle our annual meeting for the GSAR. Thanks,
Chris.
Oh, and be sure to sign out.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely be sure. Right now, in fact, right now, before you stand up, go into the chat, type your name in so that you can get credit for having stayed for the full time. And we will see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.